Well drilled, every pipeline laid, every water source soured, every leaching field they lay. For every shady lease approved in the interest of getting paid, every instance of fiduciary duty and trust responsibility blatantly waived. For every time a family is told that predatory economics will improve their future fate, for every wife who is suddenly widowed when her husband loses his life during the workday, 6 to 7 times more likely to die from these industries whose risk to their workers' lives they underplay. For every time an energy industry holds us hostage when they say that without them there would be no means to put food on our loved ones' plates. We acknowledge that life is under the threat of being drained away. 3 generations ago they snatched the children in the same way. Now, unknowingly, we tenderly lower our babies into fracked water used to bathe. May we wash off and send away these synthetic chemicals, birth defects, and developmental delays. New and rare cancers and health complications, leaving the innocent sick at a younger and younger age. For every sacred space that overnight becomes landscapes now developed and man-made, every mountain range their destructive potential does come into and invade. Every high desert canyon they choke with regional haze, thick with methane. Every living shrine, mesa top, pine forest they desecrate. For every flare stack they raise in the same lands where changing woman was born and her boys, the hero twins, were raised. For every river like a distant precious memory threatening to fade, may we rediscover in our precious, precious place original sacred living waterways to which we return, make offerings, ask for her healing, we pray. To Mother Water we do give our deeply sincere apologies and thanks. And in gratitude we do too honor her holy connection with woman and earth, for without Mother Water neither she nor her could give birth. A trilogy of feminine sanctity necessary for all life labored and gave, which is why when there is violence upon Turtle Island and her aquifer veins, there too does rage a war upon the women that centuries later still is waged. A war that began when did land the ships of Columbus and this culture that rapes. Predatory industries butcher and discard the bodies of our territories, yet proclaim them safe, while thousands upon thousands of missing and murdered indigenous women colonial governments continue to refuse to face. Parallel crimes that fall on blind eyes, for both are more profitable to not regulate. So as man camps rise, so too do sex crimes to an increased 300+% rate. For every daughter or sister lured away, trafficked, exploited, made sex slave, every female body sized up, coercively explored, thoroughly appraised, traded to highest bidder or holder of greatest boom bust wage, he who assumes that in exchange is entitled to frack, crack her open, violate. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the stage upon which generations of trespass against the basic dignity and human rights of a people is performed today. Yet, for every one sister preyed upon, we do gain, for more who confront their trauma continue to resolve their pain. Taking the front lines across this scorched earth, from the ashes the woman nation does rise. A beautiful struggle committed to the healing of each and every last piece of our lives. A movement grounded in teachings that will long stay alive after these frack sites of mankind, including his drag lines, coal mines, uranium mines, pipelines, and inflated petrodollar signs. We boldly sing the songs our ancestors long sang. We tell our stories unashamed. We demand justice be attained for the healing of the waters, lands, and lives from which we are made. Every day, Families transform, begin to walk new paths, waiting to be paved. More mothers stand strong, demand from the shadows their daughters be reclaimed. More men do return, rejecting tendencies to womanize and self-hate. More warriors are born, genuinely grounded and remade. More hands otherwise tied, free themselves and offer their aid. More families uncover the rich legacies of resiliency from which the people came, tapping into roots and ancestral propensities to take actions noble and brave. May the people remember always the holy source from which we originate, loving legacies of grandmothers and grandfathers who endured so that we may, from their bloodlines, persevere and draw strength. So for every one energy resource act of shame, we must remember too there exists the potential for positive change. For every person whose mind is underestimated and expected to be persuaded by rhetoric of economic development and the promises of our lifestyle upgrade, choose increasingly instead to no longer be misled and instead shake themselves awake. Yeah.